We'll go ahead and call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for the city of Pataskala. Time is 6:30, and today is November 12, 2019. I'd ask that you'd stand and join us with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I'd ask Ms. Paxton to call the roll, please.
Bruce Ashcraft. Brandon Gaelic.
Here.
Alan Howe.
Here.
Rob Platt.
Here.
TJ Rotovac.
So we have Mr. Ashcraft, Ms. Rotoback are not here this evening. However, we do have 3 of 5 members and a quorum, so we will proceed. We will go on to old business on the agenda. Number 4, we have variance application VA-19-002. The applicant has asked that this remain tabled through the end of the year unless we hear different from them. Staff, I'm to understand we've not heard differently, and so the desires are for this to remain tabled. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir. We will go on to new business. Going down the agenda here, we have number 5A, variance application VA-19-023. I was notified before we started this evening that the applicant wishes for this application to be tabled this evening. This is a new application to us, but there were some changes in the application that was submitted, and it sounds like they want to give some additional information to staff and stuff. So it's my understanding that the desire is to have this table. Is that correct, Mr. Fulton?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir. So because this is new business before us, I need a motion to table this at the request of the applicant.
That's so moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Mr. Gaelic.
Yes.
Mr. Platt.
Yes.
Mr. Howe.
Yes.
That variance has been tabled. We will move on to 5B on the agenda, variance application VA-19-024. Just very quickly before we proceed, as we normally do, we give a very quick procedural explanation. This is a hearing of Board of Zoning Appeals, and this is a quasi judicial board. Minutes are taken. This board is to consider the facts and evidence and testimony presented with each application that comes before us, and only that, not comments, not opinions. So to that end, please stick to facts, evidence, and testimony. When you come up, you'll be sworn in. You'll be asked to give your name and address for the record. And I will ask that all questions and comments be addressed to this board. We will then seek the answers if so needed. That goes for anybody providing additional evidence and testimony, as well as the applicant and staff does the same. So with that being said, we will move on and ask staff to give their report on VA-19-024.
Thank you, sir. As you said, this is VA-19-024. The applicant here is Scott Walters. It's located on Columbia Road Southwest, and it's in a total of 13 parcels. Current acreage is 46.39, zoned agricultural, and the applicant is requesting approval of 3 variances from section 1291.02A4 to allow for the construction of gravel driveways on 3 future parcels within a platted subdivision. So take a look. Here's an area map. The total area is outlined in yellow here. You can see there are smaller parcels on the frontage here, 1 larger lot in the rear. So again, it's 13 total parcels, 12 of which are part of the Swinning subdivision, which was platted in 1954. Each of those parcels is approximately 0.5 acres each, with frontage on Columbia Road Southwest. There is 1 larger parcel that is landlocked with no access to the right-of-way. Again, total acreage is 46.93, and there are no structures currently present. Most of the acreage is utilized as farmland. So the applicant's requesting variances for 3 parcels which are proposed to be replatted upon approval of REP-19-002, which will go before the Planning and Zoning Commission on November 6th. Just an update to that, so that REP 19002 was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission at that hearing. Each parcel will require a variance from 1291.02A4, which states that all driveways shall be hard surface with asphaltic cement, concrete, or pavers. Currently, the larger parcel is not within the subdivision, however, when they're replatted, it will bring that into the subdivision along with the smaller parcels. So again, the applicant's requesting 3 variances to construct driveways for each lot with gravel. Currently, there's 2 existing driveway culverts, one to the east and one to the west, and a new culvert is proposed to be installed on the east side adjacent to the existing one. So the proposed lots will require driveways that will be, the applicant stated in their narrative statement that the proposed lots will require driveways that will be several hundred feet long to build a house, as well as be used by heavy farm equipment. And the applicant believes that the paved driveway requirement was intended more for small residential subdivisions, and that gravel driveways are better suited to withstand the wear and tear of the agricultural uses. They also stated that the majority of existing driveways in the Swinning subdivision and surrounding agricultural areas are gravel, and believes that there will be no detriment to the neighboring properties in general or impairment with the use of development of adjacent properties. So if you look here, these are the parcels that are going to be replatted. We have one here, one large flag lot in the middle, and one over here to the right. And these red boxes are the entry locations. This one on the left here is existing, this one existing, and the one on the far right is the proposed new one. So as part of our review, planning and zoning staff would like to offer the following comments. The applicant stated in the narrative that a majority of the existing driveways of the surrounding parcels are gravel. Staff would like to note that most of these predated the current zoning code and have been grandfathered in as non-conforming. Those driveways outside of platted subdivisions are not required to be asphalt, concrete, or pavers. As replatting the existing lots would bring them all into the subdivision, section 1291.02A4 would apply. However, other than that, staff has no other concerns with the proposal. And we did not receive any other comments from any applicable departments or agencies. Surrounding properties, they are all zoned agricultural to both all the northeast, south, and west. To the north, we have farmland. To the east is single-family homes and some more farmland. To the south, another single-family home and farmland. And to the west, single-family homes and farmland. Here are your findings of fact. They're also presented in your staff report. And we'd like to, should the board choose to approve the applicant's request, the following conditions may be considered. First one, the applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the City of Pataska and the Licking County Building Department. And 2, the applicant shall replat the parcels in question so that the proposed lots are formally created. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
So we have a number of platted parcels already along Columbia, so we have a net reduction in parcels, correct?
That's correct.
In essence, we're going to less parcels, larger lots, larger frontage.
Correct.
In the end, that's what we're saying. The board have any questions for staff?
The replatting has already been confirmed, is that what I?
Yes, that was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. It hasn't been formally platted and recorded with the county yet, but it was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
The request of this board is simply the 3 gravel driveways for the 3 lots that will be created. Okay.
The 2 culverts that do exist, do they have a gravel driveway?
I'm not sure if they do
I
or
believe
not.
they do. However, since those portions are, grandfathered in, the extension of those driveways back to the home site would need to meet the requirements of the subdivision regulations, which require that hard surface.
Gotcha.
But they're in essence farm field, they're farm culverts, right, to get into the fields right now?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions of the board? I see the applicant is Mr. Scott Walters. Are you here this evening, sir?
Yes.
You wish to address the board?
Sure.
You turn to Ms. Paxton, be sworn in, please.
Raise your hand, please. Gentlemen, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm
And,
Scott
name-
Wol-
I'm sorry, name and address?
Yep, Scott Walters, 591 Chattagay Drive, Pataskala. Just wanted to add that the 3 lots, it's being converted into 3 lots that all meet the current agricultural zoning. There's a 10-acre lot, 14-acre lot, and 22-acre lot. And we're requesting the variance to be able to have gravel driveways instead of a hard surface driveway, for a couple reasons. Number one, on the 10-acre lot, the build site, if somebody builds a house there, is gonna be 300 to 700 foot long driveway. On the 14-acre lot, probably be about a 600 foot long driveway. And the 22-acre lot would be somewhere between a 700 and 1,400 foot driveway, depending on where they build the house, and that's a long way to put in a paved driveway, of course. But the other reason, and the main reason, is for the agricultural use. It's all being farmed for the majority of the land. It's separated between the 22 acres and the 14 acres. There's woods and a creek there. So for the farmers to get in, you actually need access to the 10 and 14 on the right-hand side and access to the 22 acres on the left-hand side. And to get back to the farm ground on the 22 acres, you have to go back about 600 feet across the culvert to get to the farm ground. And that access is also used to farm to the left of that, or west, is the McKnight's property is 36 acres, which is probably 30 acres of farm ground in the back. And the farmers get to that property through the 22 acre access there. There's no other street access or culvert across the creek to get to the 30 acres on the neighbor's property. So there's big farm tractors and trucks going in to haul out the harvest, and to have a 700-foot paved driveway, that's just gonna get torn out by those big farm equipment. I think that's all I have just to add to the staff report, and unless you guys have any questions for me.
What, I may have missed it. How long have you own the property, sir?
2 months.
Okay. And you were not aware of the paving requirement when you purchased it?
I was aware of that, yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, board, any questions, any follow-up?
No,
To the
sir.
applicant. Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else here this evening who wishes to speak on this application? Going once, going twice. Okay. Hearing none. I think my questions have been addressed. This is a reduction of number of parcels, meets the current zoning requirements for frontage and lot size, as I understand it. I'm not seeing a downside to gravel driveways in a farming area and agricultural areas, so. Not hearing any other evidence testimony, we'll move on to findings of fact. This will be for VA 19-024. Okay, we'll go through letters A through K. Letter A, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return, or if there can be a beneficial use of the property.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Whether there are unique physical circumstances or conditions that prohibit the property being developed in strict conformity with the zoning regulations such that a variance is necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property. I'm willing to say yes here. I don't know that I'm not strict to it necessary, but obviously large lots require large driveways, and I certainly see the thought behind it, so I'm gonna say yes.
Yes, I agree.
Agree with you.
Letter C, whether the variance requested is substantial. I do not believe so, given the district and area that it's in.
No.
No.
Anybody else? Okay, we have no. Letter D, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or the adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance.
No.
No. I think there's already, many properties already have that gravel driveway.
Yeah.
tend to agree. Letter E, whether the variance, if granted, will substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property.
No.
Letter F, whether the variance, if granted, will be detrimental to the public welfare.
No.
Letter G, whether the variance, if granted, would adversely affect the delivery of government services.
No.
Letter H, whether the property owner purchased the subject property with knowledge of the zoning restriction.
Yes.
Yes.
Indicated he did. Letter I, whether the property owner's predicament can be obviated through some other method than a variance. As with most as with significant amount of variances, the answer is yes.
I have to say yes, cause it
Yes,
I
it's
mean,
yes, yeah.
letter J, whether the variance, if granted, will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and represent the least modification possible of the requirement at issue.
yes.
Yes.
I would agree. Letter K, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. Again, I go back to it's bringing it into conformity, reducing the net number of lots. I have to say yes.
Yes, yes too.
So Ms. Paxton, for your records, we have yes for letters A, B, H, I, J, K. That would be yes, no for C, D, E, F, and G. Those are the findings of fact for this application. You'll find in your packet, staff, as they always do, has provided us with some sample language here. Willing to entertain a motion as to this application.
I'll go ahead and make that motion. I move to approve variances from section 1291.02A4 of the Pataskala Code for variance application BA 19024, with the following supplementary conditions. 1, the applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and Licking County Building Department. And 2, the applicant shall finalize the replatting of the parcels in question.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
The second, is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Gaelick?
Yes.
Mr. Howe?
Yes.
Variance has been approved. Congratulations, Mr. Walters. The staff will follow up with you in the next couple days on your follow-up process.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening, sir. You're welcome to stay and join us. We won't be offended if you wish to leave.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have letter C under new business. This is variance application VA-19-025. I'd ask staff to give the report, please.
Thank you, sir. The applicant here is Kessler Sign Company. The owner of the property is TrueCore Credit Union, located at 997 North Oxford Drive. Current acres is 3.91. It's currently zoned PRO, Professional Research Office. And the applicant is requesting approval of 2 variances. The first from section 1295.09B2A to allow for a total signage to exceed 32 square feet, and the second from section 1295.09B2B to allow for more than one wall sign to be installed. Take a look here at the area map. Here's the outline of the parcel in yellow, with Oxford Drive here and Broad Street on the south side. So the property itself was rezoned from Planned Development District to PRO, Professional Research Office, on January 7th, 2019. The purpose of this was to allow for the construction of a new branch for the TrueCore Federal Credit Union, and the zoning permit for the new commercial construction number 19052 was approved on May 13th of this year. The plans supplied for the zoning permit featured sample signage. However, final details on the proposed signage were not included. So as approved, the new bank is 2,398 square feet and 1.5 stories tall, and is currently under construction. There's a 3-lane drive-through on the south of the building, with parking available on the north side, and 2 access points to the site, both on North Oxford Drive, and the south access is shared with AutoZone. So if you look here, sort of the overall site plan, and then we have a zoomed in version here with Oxford Drive running north to south. Oh, excuse me. And the proposed bank building in the center with 3 drive-through lanes on the south side, south access shared with AutoZone on North Oxford Drive, and a parking lot in the north. So the proposal is, pursuant to section 1259.09 B2A, the total sign area of 32 square feet shall be permitted on any lot regardless of building frontage. The applicant's requesting a variance to allow for a total of 110 square feet. And pursuant to section 1259.09 B2B, only one sign of the following type shall be permitted: a wall sign, awning, or canopy sign, both of which not to exceed 32 square feet. The applicant is requesting a variance in order to install 3 total wall signs, one on the north face, one on the east face, and one on the south face. So the north sign will be the TrueCore Star logo with dimensions of 52 inches by 52 inches or 22 square feet. East and the south signs will both be the full TrueCore logo, each with the dimensions of 3 feet 5 inches by 12 foot 10 3/4 inches or 44 square feet per sign. Each sign will be mounted near the top of the 1.5-story building and will be reverse lit LED aluminum channel letters. So here's a look at the sign on the north face of the building with Star logo. Here on towards the top of the building. The east sign, which will be located here. And the sign on the south face, located here. As part of the narrative statement the applicant submitted, the applicant stated that the owner would like to claim hardship due to the present sign code will not identify their new building to prevent public or destination seekers. They are requesting 110 square foot total with 2 wall signs and a wall logo. The applicant understands that this may seem way over the allowable per code, but would ask the board to consider the attached drawings that show the individual letters and logo and not just a big flat billboard looking sign. So as part of our review, planning and zoning staff would like to offer the following comments. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow for the installation of 3 wall signs which exceed the allowable amount by 2 or a 200% increase. And the applicant is also requesting a variance to allow for 110 square feet of signage area which exceeds the allowable amount by 78 square feet or 343.75%. Pursuant to section 1295.05 B3B, wall signs shall not extend more than 15 inches from the face of the building. From the submitted plans, the signs are proposed at 5/5/8 inches, which is compliant with this section of code. So in addition to the requirements of section 1211.071, which is your findings of fact, section 1211.072 allows other factors to be considered, including comments from city staff. And the section that would apply to this particular application is section 1211.072G, which allows the Board of Zoning Appeals to increase the maximum allowable height or size of a sign, but suggests that said increase not exceed 25%. However, the BZA may approve an increase in signage size above 25%, given that it meets the other requirements of 1211.071. Staff has no other concerns with this proposal, and we did not receive any other comments from any applicable departments or agencies. Surrounding properties, to the north we have it zoned as R15, medium high density residential, and R20, medium density residential, and those are all single family homes. To the east is zoned GB general business, which is the grocery store and various miscellaneous commercial establishments. To the south is zoned planned development district, which is an auto parts sales store. And to the west is zoned PRO, professional research office, which is currently vacant. Here are your findings of fact. Of course, those are included in your staff report. And the additional section. And should the board choose to approve the applicant's request, the following condition may be considered. And just one being the applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and the Lincoln County Building Department. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Any questions from the board of staff? Thank you, sir. You don't have to go back to your slide, but I see in your report, 1 sign at 22.5 square feet and then 2 signs at 44, so you've got 1 sign. The cause of this is you're going from 1 sign max at 32 feet to 3 signs, but one of those are down at 22.5 square feet. And then you got 2 of them at 44, so
It's the first code permits the maximum total signage area of all signs on the lot to 32 square feet.
okay.
And the second one is you're only allowed to have 1 wall sign. So
Okay.
they're requesting the first variance to exceed that total square foot max,
Okay,
and then the second variance is to install more than one wall sign.
can you go back to the aerial that you had then? Aerial view,
This one or the,
keep going. Go forward. Right there. Do you have any idea what the distance is from Broad Street back? It seems significant, right? It's at least the depth of the AutoZone lot. Okay,
Approximately 290 feet from the building, the south building face to Broad Street.
okay. Is there also a freestanding sign, or is this only wall signage at this?
there is a freestanding sign that's shared with AutoZone. It's
Oh, that's right, it's good,
Right
near the property
here.
line. Or, yeah, I got you. Okay,
Isn't there, I mean, just driving by it, isn't there two freestanding signs with AutoZone? One on Broad Street and one on the side street?
yes, there is. There's one on the
oh,
south
AutoZone,
of the
AutoZone, too.
AutoZone that's actually on Broad Street.
Mhm.
Got it. Good to know. Any other questions? All right, do we have? I don't see Mr. Kessler here, but I do have Mark Cox. Would you like to address the board, sir?
Evening, Board.
You be sworn in by Ms. Paxton, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please.
Mark Cox, Kessler Sign Company, 2669 National Road, Sanesville, 43701. Have you guys got my drawings in front of you?
We do.
Yes. Okay. What do you think? It just doesn't fit the landscape and the distance?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I guess, reiterate what I opened with. If you have evidence and testimony to present to the board, we're willing to entertain that.
Okay. It's hard to ID my customer's business
I understand that.
from Broad Street and maybe even, heading east. And 32 square feet didn't make much sense for a project like this.
Okay?
Doesn't
Do they
the,
need bigger signage to be identified?
well, isn't that the purpose of the two monument signs?
Those are multi-tenant signs. I guess you would have to consider how you view those. But you do have a point, they are ID'd.
Okay?
And I think if you look at the signs, they're nicely done and they're not flat and billboard type and sign faces. As to that extent, the way the square feet is added up, we may square it up rectangular and all that. It just seems like a code that was written for a strip mall or something. Square feet on a building that size is just not very much.
Okay?
I can't think anything else.
The board have any questions of the applicant?
I put some thought into their competition, the other banks, and they've got a lot more than 32 square feet.
Okay? Anything else you'd like to provide to us?
I think that's it.
All right, thank you, sir. Staff, do you have anything to follow up?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there anybody else here who'd like to speak to this application? Good evening, sir. If you'd be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
Andy Walther, 7899 Columbia Road, Patasko, 43062. I just wanted to stand up and supply some support for this new community bank for Pataskla. Obviously, in this area, when you look around to some of the other Kroger and the Kroger area, the AutoZone and so forth, you know, I don't know, looking at this, I drove by this also, as you guys obviously did, and looked like it's not out of character for that, especially looking at some of the surrounding residents that are to the north, you know, substantially to the north, and not affecting them. So, you know, that's all I wanted to add. Just wanted to make sure that we welcome our new business to the area. So that's all.
Thank you, sir. Any
Thank you.
questions? Thank you, Mr. Walter. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak to this application? Going once, going twice. We will again go through the findings of fact. This will be for BA 19-025. Again, letter A, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or if there can be a beneficial use of the property.
Yes.
That's a yes.
I would agree. Letter B, whether there are unique physical circumstances or conditions that prohibit the property being developed in strict conformity with the zoning regulation such that a variance is necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property. Proximity with Broad Street would be my concern, so I'm gonna say yes.
That's a yes too.
Yes.
Whether the variance, this is letter C, whether the variance requested is substantial. On its face, it seems that way. I'm not the biggest fan of the suggested percentage, because I think you gotta take it on a case-by-case basis. That's why I looked at the three signs, one being less than 32, the other one, in my opinion, slightly over, so I do not feel that it is substantial.
I think just based on the code and the percentages over, it's pretty substantial, based, you know, just on the code, face value.
It is on, I would agree, but I think in practice, I would tend to say no.
Yeah, I'd say no too.
Sir, how would you like to vote?
I would vote yes on that.
Okay. We have 2 noes and a yes, I'm gonna mark no.
Okay.
D, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or the adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance.
No.
No.
I would agree. Letter E, whether the variance, if granted, will substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property.
No.
No.
Letter F, whether the variance, if granted, will be detrimental to the public welfare.
No.
And G, whether the variance, if granted, would adversely affect the delivery of government services.
No.
No.
Letter H, whether the property owner purchased the subject property with knowledge of the zoning restriction. We do not have the property owner here in front of us. I did not think to ask Mr. Cox that, so, I'm gonna say no.
He's here.
I don't know that it matters.
Yeah, I don't know either. Say no.
I'd say no also.
Okay, we finished up with our testimony, but thank you. Whether the property owner's predicament can be obviated through some other method than the variance.
Yes.
That's a yes.
I would agree. Letter J, whether the variance, if granted, will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and represent the least modification possible of the requirement at issue. I think that's subjective. I would have to say,
Very subjective.
I think I would have to say yes. But we're not asking for signage on a full wall or
Right.
10 monument signs or something. I think I would have to say yes.
Yeah, that's a yes too.
Okay. Say yes.
Finally, letter K, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance.
I'd say yes.
Yes.
Tend to agree. So Ms. Paxton, we have yes for letters A, B, I, J, K. We have no for C, D, E, F, G, and H. Those are the findings of fact for this. Is there any other discussion by the board? No.
Nope.
2, 3. Page 4 of your packet from staff, they have again provided us graciously with a sample language, so I will move to approve variances from section 1295.09B2A and section 1295.09B2B of the Pataskala Code for variance application BA-19-025 with the following condition that the applicant shall obtain all necessary permits from the city of Pataskala and Licking County Building Department. That is my motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. Is there discussion on the motion?
No.
Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Gaelick?
Yes.
Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
All right, congratulations, gentlemen. The variance has been approved. Staff will follow up with you in the next couple days on your next steps in the process. As with the previous, you're welcome to stay. You certainly won't be offended if you don't.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Move on to number 6 on the agenda, findings of fact. 4A, 5A are tabled, so we have findings of fact starting with 5B. So I'd entertain a motion to approve the findings of fact for variance application BA-19-024 as discussed in the hearing.
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second, discussion. Roll call please.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Gaelick?
Yes.
I entertain a motion to approve the findings of fact for variance application VA-19-025 as discussed in the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, is there discussion?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Gaelick?
Yes.
Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Moving on to number 7 of the agenda, we have the approval of the October 14 minutes. They were originally sent out, I don't know, last week by Ms. Paxton. There were some grammatical typo type errors. She made those changes and sent those back out. You received those. They are in red. Are there any other questions or changes on the minutes?
I have none.
No.
Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the October 14, 2019 minutes as presented this evening.
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, is there discussion?
No.
Roll call please.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Gaelick?
Yes.
We have other business. Normally, we don't often get speakers. I've had 2 requests that people would like to address the board. We don't normally have public comments, but certainly want to entertain a request to do so. So I have Ms. Leatrice Gutentag, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If you wish to address the board, please feel free.
Okay. Beatrice Gutentag, 280 Charles Road, Pataskala, 43062. I wanted to address the minutes from last meeting. It was stated by Jerry Carver in the transcript and the minutes that at their property line by the church that the decibels read 98. It also stated in the motion that you had for the outdoor shooting range that they would comply with all applicable and state federal laws. The state law does state that the noise level exceeds 90 decibels for 1 hour of 24-hour period measured at the property line. I wanted to confirm with you guys that you did agree with that statement, that does apply to this. And the reason I'm stating this is, I did email Scott to confirm that afterwards. He said it does. I emailed Scott that as of October 21st, on Sunday, they had begun shooting at 2:08 to 2:30, then they had a 20-minute break, shot another 25 minutes, resumed shooting at 11:48 on Monday. That is less than 24 hours. I did send that to Scott. He said that he would look into it. I got a voicemail from Mr. Blake. I was away on business. I called him back after phone tag. He said Scott asked him to stop by on the way home from work. I asked him specifically, how did he know they'd be shooting that day? He said he doesn't know. He said he went to the back of he went to the front parking lot, he got readings on his phone at 60 decibels. I said to him, did you confirm what kind of guns were being shot? He said no, he only saw skeets going through. I said, it's interesting because the chief of police during the council meeting said it would be too expensive to test properly. I also asked him, again, how did they know they'd be shooting? He said he doesn't know. I said, were you at the lot closest to the Harley Davidson church where the decibel was read by Mr. Carver? He said no. And then he said to me, he doesn't want any part of this, he just wants to be left alone through this. I said, can I please get an email of this? He said he'd have to ask Scott. I've heard nothing since. So I'm confused now. Why, number one, are they taking new decibel readings when we have under oath Mr. Carver stating specifically that they're over 98? And why is this continuing? So how is this gonna go if this is how this is working?
Okay. If you have a complaint with the way the staff is handling a zoning issue, you need to take that up with staff, the city administration, the city council. This board is not the governing body of those. So
Okay.
this is the incorrect venue to bring a complaint like that. As to the minutes and attesting to what took place, the hearing, or that was recorded,
Correct?
the minutes were taken, they've been approved.
Correct.
So if you wish to check those for what was said and what the testimony
Well, I was
was, feel
actually
free.
hoping to speak prior to you approving the minutes, but it got out of order tonight.
Okay, I have it on the agenda in this order. So the board hears the evidence and testimony in the hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that took place a
Correct.
month ago, that has been closed. The minutes have been approved. Staff is the enforcing agency, so you've got a couple different issues here that have nothing to do with this board.
Okay.
If you feel that the action of this board is incorrect or you're otherwise aggrieved, you can file a 2506 appeal with common pleas.
Understood.
If you have an issue with the way staff is enforcing the decisions of this board or the zoning code, then you take that up with them or the administrative of the council. Other than that, I'm not hearing anything that this board can help you with.
I just wanted clarification that when you did make the zoning decision, it did specifically state that they were required to follow state laws, and the state laws were the 90 decibels, and Mr. Carver, which we do know in the minutes, stated specifically that it was over 98.
And this board will stand on the evidence and testimony presented in the hearing, the recording thereof, and the minutes that were approved.
That's all I wanted.
Okay?
Thank you.
Very well. And anybody else? Mr. Walter?
Me again, yeah. Okay, well, I'm really sorry that the other two members of this board are not here tonight. I want to take this opportunity, as you guys probably all know, Mr. Platt has been nominated and appointed to the district sewer and water district. But I wanted to say that in my few times that I've been here, watching the board operate, and I've watched numerous boards across central Ohio. This board operates in a very efficient, very legal manner, one that makes the city of Patasko proud. So I again salute Rob for all of his leadership, for his dedication to this board. I know you guys have been busy. I read the reports that Scott provides to us. And you guys always have something going on. So hopefully the next chairman will operate in a manner that is similar to the way this board's been handled for the last, how long have you been? Is it 2 years?
Three?
3?
Three
Seems
now.
only-
Chairs wise.
It only seems like 2. Anyhow, I wanted to say personally, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I do appreciate
All
that.
right.
Okay, moving on the agenda. As soon as I find it here. Any other business?
No.
We have, last on the agenda, adjournment of the meeting till the, Tuesday, December 9, 2019. Before I entertain a motion to do so, as Mr. Walter indicated, this will be my last hearing with the BZA due to, appointment to the Water and Sewer District. I will be submitting, an email of resignation to Kathy. I'll let her know that that would be coming tomorrow morning. It would be effective tomorrow, so then you would need to at the next meeting. Council will obviously look to appoint a replacement, and you guys will need to nominate a chair. So, however you wish to do so. So thank you all. It's been a pleasure to serve and an honor, and I've certainly enjoyed it. And thank you to the staff. I don't think I have anything else. So I entertain a motion to adjourn to December 9, 2019.
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. My final roll call, please, Ms. Paxton.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mr. Platt,
Yes.
Mr. Gailey.
Yes.
We stand adjourned.